This is Classic Poetry Aloud. You can hear more classic poetry at classicpoetryaloud.com. Answer to an invitation to dine at Fishmonger's Hall by Sydney Smith. Much do I love at civic treat the monsters of the deep to eat, to see the rosy salmon lying by smelts encircled, born for frying, and from the china boat to pour on flaky cod the flavoured shower. Thee above all I much regard, flatter than Longman's flattest bard, much honoured turbot. Sore I grieve thee and thy dainty friends to leave. Far from ye all, in snuggest corner, I go to dine with little Horner, he who, with philosophic eye, sat brooding o'er his Christmas pie, then, firm resolved, with either thumb tore forth a crust-enveloped plum, and, mad with youthful dreams of future fame, proclaimed the deathless glories of his name. This is Classic Poetry Aloud. You can hear more readings of classic poetry at classicpoetryaloud.com. Summer and Winter by Percy Bysshe Shelley. It was a bright and cheerful afternoon towards the end of the sunny month of June, when the north wind congregates in crowds the floating mountains of the silver clouds from the horizon, and the stainless sky opens beyond them like eternity. All things rejoiced beneath the sun, the weeds, the river, and the cornfields, and the reeds, the willow leaves that glanced in the light breeze, and the firm foliage of the larger trees. It was a winter such as when birds die in the deep forests, and the fishes lie stiffened in the translucent ice, which makes even the mud and slime of the warm lakes a wrinkled clod as hard as brick, and when, among their children, comfortable men gather about great fires, and yet feel cold. Alas then, for the homeless beggar old. This is a reading from Classic Poetry Aloud, giving voice to the poetry of the past. If you'd like to hear more classic poetry, visit classicpoetryaloud.com. On His Blindness by John Milton. When I consider how my light is spent, ere half my days, in this dark world and wide, and that one talent which is death to hide lodged with me useless, though my soul more bent to serve therewith my Maker, and present my true account, lest he returning chide, Doth God exact day labour, light denied? I fondly ask. But Patience, to prevent that murmur, soon replies, God doth not need either man's work or his own gifts. Who best bear his mild yoke, they serve him best. His state is kingly. Thousands at his bidding speed, and post o'er land and ocean without rest. They also serve, who only stand and wait. This is Classic Poetry Aloud. You can hear more readings of classic poetry at classicpoetryaloud.com. Snow in the Suburbs by Thomas Hardy. Every branch big with it, bent every twig with it, every fork like a white web-foot, every street and pavement mute. Some flakes have lost their way and grope back upward, when, meeting those meandering down, they turn and descend again. The palings are glued together like a wall, and there is no waft of wind with the fleecy fall. A sparrow enters the tree, whereon immediately a snow lump thrice his own slight size descends on him, and showers his head and eye, and overturns him, and near inerns him, and lights on another twig, when its brush starts off a volley of other lodging lumps with a rush. The steps are a blanched slope, up which, with feeble hope, a black cat comes, wide-eyed and thin, and we take him in. This is Classic Poetry Aloud. You can hear more readings of classic poetry at classicpoetryaloud.com. Love by George Herbert. Love bade me welcome, yet my soul drew back, guilty of dust and sin. But quick-eyed love, observing me grow slack from my first entrance in, drew nearer to me, sweetly questioning if I lacked anything. A guest, I answered, worthy to be here. Love said, you shall be he. I, the unkind, ungrateful? Ah, my dear, I cannot look on thee. Love took my hand, and smiling did reply, who made the eyes but I? Truth, Lord, but I have marred them. Let my shame go where it doth deserve. And know you not, says Love, who bore the blame? My dear, then I will serve. You must sit down, says Love, and taste my meat. So I did sit and eat. This is Classic Poetry Aloud. You can hear more readings of classic poetry at classicpoetryaloud.com. Nightingales by Robert Bridges. Beautiful must be the mountains whence ye come, and bright in the fruitful valleys the streams whereof ye learn your song. Where are those starry woods? Oh, might I wander there among the flowers which in that heavenly air bloom the year long? Nay, barren are those mountains, and spent the streams. Our song is the voice of desire that haunts our dreams, a throe of the heart, whose pining visions dim, forbidden hopes profound, no dying cadence, nor long sigh can sound, for all our art. Alone, aloud in the raptured ear of men, we pour our dark nocturnal secret, and then, as night is withdrawn from these sweet springing meads and bursting boughs of May, dream, while the innumerable choir of day welcome the dawn. This is Classic Poetry Aloud. You can hear more readings of classic poetry at classicpoetryaloud.com. The Rhodora, on being asked whence is the flower, by Ralph Waldo Emerson. In May, when sea winds pierced our solitudes, I found the fresh rhodora in the woods, spreading its leafless blooms in a damp nook to please the desert and the sluggish brook. The purple petals fallen in the pool made the black water with their beauty gay. Here might the red bird come his plumes to cool, and court the flower that cheapens his array. Rhodora, if the sages ask thee why this charm is wasted on the earth and sky, tell them, dear, that if eyes were made for seeing, then beauty is its own excuse for being. Why thou wert there, O rival of the rose, I never thought to ask. I never knew, but, in my simple ignorance, supposed the self-same power that brought me there brought you.